I do consume fish and on occasion meat.
Eggs, cheese. I do eat chicken. I had this vision in my head that free-range chickens were like basically at a chicken hotel.
Oh my god, cut their beaks off. It's so sad. Oh my god. It looks like they're in jail. Oh my god, that's so terrible.
As much as possible, I do try to get cage-free eggs and free roam meat.
And a lot of plant-based proteins are lacking.
Hi everyone, this is Sheena, and today I'm here with Hayden, Dominic, and their dog Zuko. And today we're talking about animals, and they saw my sign, 3 questions for animal lovers, and agreed to sit down. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. The first question is, are you animal lovers?
I love animals. Honestly, been a big part of my life for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big animal lover as well. Huge animal lover.
The second question is, what do you think about animal abuse or people who abuse animals?
Personally, I believe that animals, they love us unconditionally and they can't talk. And to abuse them is just taking advantage of something that already has so many communication problems with humans because they can't talk. So I just think it's terrible to take advantage of something that can't say stop,
I think of animal abuse the same way I think of domestic abuse, is that somebody has their own internal issues dealing with and they're just using that other person or animal as a vector. As much as it is disgusting, it is also just worrying that we have so many people out there who have so many issues that they haven't been able to deal with as yet, that they choose to take it out on others.
Exactly. You make some really good points here. So you think just because they can't communicate with us, although they communicate in their own ways, is not any justification. And you were saying that people that might abuse animals may have other issues as well. Yeah, because it shows that, doesn't it, in their actions. So that brings me to the last question. Are there any industries where you pay for animals to be abused and killed? And by that I mean, do you consume meat, dairy, eggs, and fish?
I do consume fish and on occasion meat. I've been trying to, for a very long time, I started in high school actually eating fish as my main source of animal protein because of so many of the documentaries I've seen and stuff. But it's been incredibly hard for me to break away from consuming animal protein just because it's been made to be so much cheaper, and as a student it's kind of hard with spending flexibility on buying good fish because it's so expensive. So sadly I can't.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and there's no judgment here. I myself ate every animal and their byproduct for 42 years. I had no idea kind of what the animals kind of went through. How about you?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit in the same boat. I found it a little hard to get purely plant sourced protein. So yeah, I do consume animal products, unfortunately. But as much as possible, I do try to get cage-free eggs and free roam meat. But obviously, again, price point goes up the second that cage-free and free roam come into play.
And can I just add, with the vegan diet, a lot of the time education is not put on the forefront of vegan nutrition, and a lot of plant-based proteins are lacking. You have to combine plant-based proteins for them to be complete proteins, much like animal proteins are. So I think as a city or as a society, it's just put on the back burner when it's a viable source for you to get nutrition from.
And I think what we're talking about here is a lot of the plant-based meat products, like the Beyond Meats and that kind of thing. But when we're talking about whole food plant-based protein, you can get all of the complete proteins, complete amino acids by combining different plant-based foods, right? And we're meant to be eating a lot more rather than getting it all from one source, because then you're getting more of the fiber, which is what most of us are kind of lacking. So there was a study by Oxford University done very recently, I think it was just last year, and they said plant-based diets are 30% cheaper than carnivorous diets, omnivorous diets. Pescatarian, as you said, was the highest. But that's because of things like beans, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, rice, potatoes, lentils, which are by far cheaper than any of the plant-based proteins or even animal-based proteins. What do you think about that?
One thing I found, I guess I could say I'm a kinesiology and health science major, and the one thing I found with plant-based proteins such as beans and the seeds that are and the legumes is that the fibers that are in them do kind of subtract from the proteins themselves, because consuming a lot of protein is good in the form of beans, legumes, seeds. Well, legumes and beans are the same thing, but I'll just say that I think still production has to come to a place where people can consume some of these, viable plant-based proteins without possible side effects from the amount of fiber they're going to be eating from that, because anything in large amounts is bad for you.
Yeah, especially when you go from eating a lot of plant-based protein to a lot of animal-based protein, which have zero fiber, to a plant-based protein. You have to, like anything, you have to kind of start off slowly, don't you? Yeah.
Shock yourself into it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to truly be against animal abuse while still paying for animals to be abused and killed?
It's really a conflict of interest when you look at it in the wider scale of things, because what we've seen from Cowspiracy, and I think I can't remember the ocean documentary, but some of the Seaspiracy, that's what it's called. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just appalling the things that they do to produce animal meat, but because of how young professionals are as students and tight on a budget, it's like we're squeezed into it and we feel bad about, eating the animal products when it's the more available source. But definitely, I think, if you're consuming animal-based protein but are still using your time to bring attention to something like animal abuse, which is completely terrible, I think, you will be the change that you're looking to see. And as time goes along, what you're looking for change in, and it will affect your diet. It will make you feel like, okay, I can stay away from this. It'll be a gradual change, but I believe putting your energy towards something that is going to support what you want, such as animal abuse, will make your world change. So yeah, I do believe that somebody could.
You feel like you're on that process, in that process?
Definitely, I do believe it's really always about your intentions for something. If you're doing it for the activism point of it, I mean, I wouldn't say that the change would be so direct. However, if you what animals mean to you and how things are being documented in these industries, if you edify yourself on them, I do believe that a change will come from the inside out. Yeah.
And how about for yourself? Which animals do you eat? I think you said you eat fish only at this stage. How about yourself?
So I do eat animal products specifically, so like eggs, cheese, not so much heavy meat. I do eat chicken. But as I said, I think that granted, I haven't done a whole lot of research into what it entails to be cage-free and free-roam meats, etc., etc. But I do think that it is possible to both be an animal lover and be against animal abuse if those stipulations kind of follow through with being against abuse. So you're raising them for food's sake and not for mass production sake.
Can I show you a quick video on the egg industry?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god.
They're shredded?
They're shredded.
With the shells?
With their shells, everything.
So they don't use them at all? Oh my god.
They're considered a waste product.
So what do they turn into?
It's just garbage?
Garbage, maybe fertilizer.
What the? Oh my god, that's so terrible. It's so sad.
Because they don't produce eggs themselves, and they're a different breed to the ones we eat for their flesh.
Oh my god. It's so sad.
So the females that are needed, they're taken on their first few days of life and they chop their beaks off. So they don't, because we keep them so confined, they peck each other.
Oh. Cut their beaks off?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. It looks like they're in jail. It's so sad.
So the egg layers, they're also sent to slaughter at a fraction of their lifespan.
Aww. What's the fraction? It's like the first 3 months?
Well, the chickens we eat for their flesh.
So
They're 4 weeks old, maybe between 4 and 6 weeks old when we send them.
Oh.
When like the broiler chickens that you get in the grocery store, they're maybe at the max 6 week old babies.
so the hormones that they use buff them up in 6
Well,
weeks.
humans have selectively bred them
Also, they
over tens of years to have like the desired traits that we want them to have: big breasts, big thighs, big legs. So they collapse under their own weight in their
Right.
sheds. They
Just-
are, their lungs fill with ammonia because they're on the ground, because we've selectively bred them. Even if they don't have antibiotics, they're still an unnatural weight.
that's so sad.
How did that video make you feel?
Wow, it definitely was a bit of a shock to see the baby chickens being shredded. I can't say that I didn't expect that that's how they've been treated. I've seen nugget making videos and how they treat the chickens, baby chickens, to be just shredded and made into small patties. It's really sad. But yeah, just as unsettling to see it once again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was shocking to know that this is both with, I guess, regular chicken production and free range. I don't know. I had this vision in my head that free range chickens were like basically at a chicken hotel, and they were like, I don't know, going to the spa or something. Yeah, it is shocking to find out that it's done regardless.
And really, it's the same with the free, pasture-fed, pasture-raised cows. Same thing. They all go to the same slaughterhouse. And much like the egg industry, the dairy industry is the same. The boys that are born into the dairy industry, they're a different breed to the ones we eat for beef. They don't produce milk. They're killed on their first few days of life. And yeah, it's probably the most terrible. And the mother has one baby taken away from her. They carry their baby for 9 months like human mammals would. They have every baby taken away, and then they're killed when they're about 5 to 6 years old. They can live for 20, 25 years. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, I was saying that I always thought about veal as that, because I would say, veal is baby cow meat. I always thought, like, if they're supposed to be getting baby cow meat, the mothers are still producing the milk when the baby is already dead. And I'm just thinking it wouldn't make sense for us to be drinking milk if it's for a baby cow. It's one thing I've always thought about. But
Absolutely. So let's go back to your answer about animal abuse. Do you think that farm animals like chicken, cows, pigs, fish, can they communicate with us, or are we listening?
animals definitely can communicate with us, even though they can't talk. Just every animal can show emotion. Fish, hardest to see because their faces are pretty the same. But
do you think fish feel pain?
All animals do feel pain.
Yeah, as long as you have a nervous system. As long as an animal has a nervous system, it feels pain.
Fish, I've learned that fish do have pain receptors, and they're more sensitive than terrestrial animals, actually.
There is some science that argues fish actually feel more pain than humans because they don't have the cognitive ability to learn from their mistakes. So through evolution, their pain receptors are higher to teach them what's dangerous and what's not, because their cognitive ability isn't maybe as high, but their pain receptors might even be higher. And we kill 2.7 trillion fish every year.
Yeah, it's really saddening to see. It's like, because a lot of where we've grown up, which is in the Caribbean, it's very available to get fish. It's a livelihood.
It's a livelihood, yeah. It's a main source of income for a lot of people. I may be part of the problem because I also didn't research, because sometimes I prefer to be blissfully ignorant. If you don't see it, it won't affect you. So now, I don't know, I have to throw the eggs out in my fridge. Now I have to throw the eggs out in my fridge because of that video. But yeah, I do think that, educating yourself with these documentaries is really important, and it helps with the wider issue as well.
What would hold you back from, say, becoming vegan?
I think as of now, it's mainly the cost associated with it as a whole. As I said, I did it before, and one, the cost, and two, I was always cooking. I was constantly cooking. I think, granted, I did it in the Caribbean. I think now being in Canada, it may be a little bit easier to find like vegan food at a restaurant, etc., etc. But especially back home, you go and you say that you're vegan, and people just go, okay, so you could eat fish, and I go, no, that's pescatarian, vegan, so only vegetables. And then even then, a lot of our food, especially in the Caribbean, is made with butter and some form of animal product. So it's very hard to have like a fully vegan meal. But I think now that I'm here, it may be a little easier and maybe a little bit more cost effective.
Yeah, here, especially in Toronto, we can go to some of the Indian or Pakistani shops and you get the huge bags of beans and lentils,
Right.
and they're so cheap. And if you get like an instant pot, or even if not, like we have an instant pot, and it just makes it so much simpler. We cook up a batch of beans a couple times a week, and learning how to cook things like tofu and tempeh properly. It's absolutely hard in some countries that you go to. But what I would say is that if you were at home in St. Lucia, if you were sitting down with your family and they try to serve you dog, what would you say?
I mean, obviously no. I mean, I think it's a bit of a cultural thing that we just won't. Anybody who knows that they're about to eat dog or cat or anything that's domesticated, everyone in the Caribbean will kind of go, hell no.
Do you think there's a moral difference between eating a dog or eating a chicken?
I don't think that there's so much of a moral difference. I think it is just a cultural difference that we've been cultured to, I guess, hold dogs and cats and certain animals at a certain level, that this is off limits. But animals that are reared in large capacities and in masses essentially are kind of treated as free game.
Would you say in their ability to feel pain and suffer that they would be the same?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's also just a cultural thing, because really and truly animals are standing the same. The same mammals that we play with, we eat. And it's kind of uncomfortable to think that you could have a cow playing just like a dog at somebody's home or on a dinner plate at somebody's home. It's saddening to think.
It's sadness, and I guess where I came to in my journey to veganism is, I thought, does an animal's ability to be a companion, should that determine their worth of life? And I realized that no, they feel pain and suffer, although they can't be a companion, but to them that doesn't matter. They just know that they're being confined and killed and abused for a meal.
I think one thing is that you should never stop yourself from exploring with your friends or your companions, because you never know, your vegan friend could have some very, very good dishes that you could possibly make very easy.
Yeah.
And it's just because they're vegan, I don't really want to know about their diet. You're cutting yourself off from another part of life. And I think just on that, it would be a good enough way for you to think of moving towards a less heavy animal-based diet.
Your friend mentioned before about having the accessibility or knowing where to go. One of them is Happy Cow. Yeah, and it's an app. You don't even have to install it. You can just go into happycow.net.
Okay.
You put in your current location. It'll tell you everywhere that is a vegan restaurant close to you in the world, or one with vegan options. So that's a great one too. So it's all on the card I'll give you. Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
I'd ask, what do you think are some of the easiest ways for you to get a fulfilling snack as a vegan? Because I think a lot of the snacks, which are just like grab and go type of food, is heavily supported by animal products.
What snacks do you eat?
Snacks that I eat, sandwiches, wraps, bowls, like rice bowls and stuff like that.
So all of that can be veganized. So you have sandwiches. You can get, especially these days, even in Loblaws, you get so many of the vegan meats. Now I wouldn't say that's something you want to be eating all the time or every day, but they're good transition products until you're able to have your taste palette change and you want a more whole food plant-based diet. But you can get all the vegan meats and the vegan cheeses. So the sandwiches are kind of, you just replace the cheese with the vegan cheese, replace the meat with the vegan meat. I love the smoked tofu instead of the vegan meats. There's excellent smoked tofu. Sunrise brand, I think it is. excellent. And so I put that in a sandwich too, or grill it, and I'll put some cherry tomatoes, some balsamic vinegar, a bit of olive oil, basil sandwich, something like that. But so these other snacks. So when I want a quick grab and go, it's usually like hummus on top of a nice cracker, or even with the smoked tofu, and always like a little bit of kale or spinach leaves. And you said bowls. So like, you Buddha bowl. So like tonight for dinner, I'm making roasted chickpeas, sweet potato, greens, and rice in a bowl, and I put a tahini dressing, so tahini maple dressing. So tahini sauce, maple, lemon juice, garlic. You put it in the blender and it makes a beautiful creamy dressing. So you can really kind of veganize anything. So when you're on any website, you type in, say, Buddha bowl, vegan Buddha bowl. But just type in vegan before it, or you want spaghetti bolognese, vegan spaghetti bolognese, and you'll get so many options. Yeah.
I think one of the things, I don't know, I would just say to all of the guys out there that might be watching this, is if you're a bodybuilder or you're going to the gym, I think fat is one of the biggest things to keep you full as an exercising person. And I think vegan options to fats, that's one of the things I think people are kind of not feeling satisfied with in the vegan diet. So what are some of like the fats you add to your foods?
Mostly would be nuts and avocados.
Avocados and nuts?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I love it. Do you like avocados and nuts?
Oh, I love avocados and nuts.
I like avocados.
You don't like avocados?
No.
Okay.
Because I mean, fruits are always, the big thing that they push in your face, but fruits tend to not
No,
keep
you're right. You need a combination of carbohydrate, protein, and fat to keep you full, for sure. There's so much you can do with cashews. Do you like cashews?
I do.
Yeah, so you can make so many different types of dressings and sauces with cashews that make everything so creamy and nice if you don't like avocado seeds as well. Hemp seeds is a good way to get a lot of good fats in your smoothies and stuff like that if you don't like avocados and you don't, nuts can get expensive. Hemp seeds are great. There's another good film on the card I'll give you, The Game Changers.
Okay.
It's all about plant-based athletes. Yeah, because, do you think you can be an athlete or a bodybuilder on a plant-based diet?
I think the biggest thing I've always said, the biggest animals are vegetarians, always have been. And I just think that's an incredible thing to think about as a bodybuilder. Like, why would you eat more protein when, the biggest animals, gorillas, antelopes, elephants, are all vegetarians? I think carbohydrates are a great way for you to bulk up, but feeling satisfied by them, it's kind of hard. So that's why I was asking you about the fats to add to your diet.
Yeah, I think there's Nimai Delgado, who has been a vegetarian for his whole life and a vegan, I think, for the last many years, is an amazing bodybuilder. I think one of the strongest men in the world is Patrick Baboumian. He's in The Game Changers as well. Yeah.
I'll definitely take a look at that. I think that's one of the biggest things for me, in just seeing that people can be, fit, because I think one of the biggest things that I got into eating pescatarian was that how much weight I lost. And I know that's not the best indicator of a good diet. However, when it came to the vegan diet, I was a little bit afraid of being able to sustain myself with the amount of work that I would be outputting in my workouts. But I'm glad to hear.
You just have, when we're eating animal products, we eat a lot less. And when we go to eating plant-based, predominant, we eat still less, but we have to eat a lot more because plant-based products are a lot less calorie dense. So if you're eating enough calories, which you have to eat a lot more, but we're meant to eat a lot more of less calorie dense food, so we get all the nutrient profile and get all the fiber that we should be getting. But yeah, you kind of have to eat, like I'll come out with a salad and everyone's like, is that for everybody? I'll be like, no, that's just for me. But when I say salad, I mean lots of beans, lots of nuts, lots of nice sauces, lots of greens, even some fruits in there. Okay. Like a whole big, like sweet potato, everything big that's in a salad. And they're like, so you have to eat a lot more, so you don't have that drop in energy.
Yeah, that's one thing I was just like trying to bring awareness to, because it's some people really want to, I believe, move towards a plant-based diet, but the availability of ideas for dishes. So I like the fact that you're educated on that. You have recipes and stuff.
We have to be, right? We eat 3 times a day, and it's a big thing. It's a cultural thing. It's habit. It's tradition. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't actually. I think I got more than enough information. Just listening to you give him like the plant-based or vegan protein powder he could use, the smoked tofu, what it was Sunrise something.
It's Sunrise brand smoked tofu.
Yeah, so just that is more or less enough. I think, yeah, I don't have any other questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Are you happy to cut it there?
Definitely. I think this was super edifying and super nice. You're a great interviewer.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, it was nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you.
Bye.